Brian and
May.
And we're from Keto Wizards. And today we are going to make some smoked barbecue ribs. As you can see here, we got 3 full racks of baby back ribs. Interesting to note that the baby back ribs actually do come from the back of said pig. Whereas if you wanted to have like spare ribs, they do come more from the belly section. I like baby backs. I think they're very tender. They're usually a lot more meaty, which is why people, I think, kind of gravitate towards them. But
Spare ribs have less meat?
Spare ribs typically have a little bit less meat. The flavor, there is a different flavor profile though. And there are some people who will tell you that spare ribs actually have a lot more flavor. But today we just went with the baby back ribs. Maybe someday we'll have to do a comparison.
Okay.
That would be a fun video to do, right?
So how are you going to prep our ribs?
So the easiest solution, we just took them out of the packaging that we got them in from the store. Some people tend to think that maybe like they should clean the meat or they should rinse it off, but I'm going to tell you that that's a really, really bad idea.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Okay. What that actually does is any kind of bacteria that may or may not be on your meat, as soon as it hits that water, it splatters up and goes everywhere. So you don't want to do that. Just remove it from the packaging. You can kind of pat it dry if you want to, and then you're just gonna go ahead and you're gonna.
Okay, so we're gonna prep these ribs, right?
Right.
And I heard that we should remove some sort of skin off of it. Is there a skin we have to remove?
Yeah. So on the back of the ribs, there is there's what they call a silver skin. Okay, and there's really 2 schools of thought in here. Either you leave it on or you take it off. And predominantly, I'm at the point where I like to leave it on. Okay. For the most part, I think it helps keep the ribs together. We're going to cook these until they are tender.
So where's the skin at? Is it this fat part or?
Nope, the fat is actually something that we're just going to leave alone. The silver skin is going to be on the back.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You can see there's just this kind of skin that goes across here. And typically, if you want to take it off, it's not really that difficult. Just stick a knife under there and peel it up and rip it off.
Okay.
Pretty simple. But I like to leave it on.
Okay.
Just a couple of purposes. Like I said, we're going to cook these so that they're nice and tender. That silver skin will actually help keep them on the bones rather nicely.
Okay.
And we're going to cook them in a way that when we bite through them, you'll be able to, the silver skin will bite right off. It won't even be a problem. Okay?
Is there any other reasons you keep it on normally? Or?
Yeah, so the other, good question, thank you very much. The other reason why I would keep it on, like collagen and other things in it, right? And so as somebody who's already eating keto because it's for, I'm looking for the health benefits that come along with them keto, being able to consume things like collagen is very, very important for us. It helps us build, helps your body actually rebuild a lot of its cells. Good for your hair, nails, all that kind of stuff. Your skin, especially, which
definitely. I mean, I'm already paying a lot of money for collagen, like.
Right. So you might as well just eat it and consume it the way that you're supposed to, and voila.
Okay,
collagen.
So that sounds like a great reason to leave it on there.
Absolutely.
Plus, I wouldn't want to have to deal with taking it off anyway. So.
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
So, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and flip this back over, and I'm going to actually wash my hands because, as you see, I touched that meat, which honestly I did not want to. All right, so before we get into too much messiness here, we're going to put on our gloves because we're all concerned about food safety.
Well, yeah, we already talked about not splattering it all over the place,
Right,
so we
exactly.
might as well not splatter it all over ourselves, too.
Exactly. I think I lost count of how many fingers I have. All right, so to season these up, we're going to keep this just really, really simple today. The first thing that I'm going to start with is a little bit of mustard. And we're going to put just a light smear in here. The mustard's not actually going to give it much flavor at all. It'll probably not even really detectable when we go to eat it. But it's going to help the other things that we put on here stick to it, because mustard is a really good emulsifier, right? So it makes things kind of sticky. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to rub some on. And like I said, we just need a little light smear, not a lot. And you can really use any kind of mustard. Today we're using a little bit of Dijon, which probably will give it a little bit more flavor. A lot of times I just use regular yellow mustard. I just happen to have this today. So that's what we're gonna use.
Are you just gonna put it on the top, or are you doing both sides?
So the one thing about the silver skin is that it will actually prevent any kind of real seasonings or anything from really being it's not gonna like absorb into the meat from that side. So typically I don't, just for simplicity. It doesn't really matter. Of course, there will be people, I'm sure, in the comments who will tell me that I'm wrong. But I've done this a couple times, so I think I'm pretty good. All right.
Some lids off for you. So what's this?
So this is a salt and pepper blend. It's just 50-50. It's my S&P 50-50. All right, so I'm gonna take this one glove off here. I can handle my jars. All right, so I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on. And one of the things people think, oh, you're putting a rub on there, right? So you have to like really kind of like rub the meat, and that's not necessarily what you want to do because you'll just kind of gum it up. So we're just going to lightly coat this with our salt and pepper mixture. Mm-hmm. And honestly, you could honestly do this, throw it on your smoker or on your grill or even in the oven, and this would be really, really good. It's really, really fantastic. It's just the way it is with salt and pepper. I'm a huge fan of salt and pepper. All right. So that's the salt and pepper. Right? So in here I have just a simple little spice rub that I made up, and in here I've got some paprika. I've got some Pasilia powder, which is Pasilia powder. Yeah.
What is Pasilia powder?
So Pasilia is a chili, right? Ah. And it is oftentimes smoked, similar to like a chipotle. Doesn't bring quite the heat that a chipotle probably does, but it's a deeper, richer, smoky flavor. So I really like it for my rubs.
So we're gonna have this recipe linked below?
Yes, this recipe will be linked below. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So we're not stopping with the salt and pepper on the ribs here.
Nope.
So we're putting an additional rub on top.
Right. Now, rubs are really simple to make. They can be really, really expensive. I really highly encourage people to go out and actually make their own rubs. It smells great.
It's fine.
It's
nice.
I smell a little bit of a sweetness in there too. Almost. Is there like some sort of?
The only thing, I don't know if it would be.
I smell again.
So there is also
it's just smoky.
Yeah,
Very smoky. Yeah.
There's a little bit of ginger in here.
That's
and
unique.
A little bit of cilantro. Yeah, ginger I find actually pairs really well with pork. And so I like to use it in my rubs that I'm going to make pork with.
Oh, fantastic.
Here we go.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some of this on.
And we're also not literally rubbing in the rub. We're just
Nope.
sprinkling it on.
Correct. No reason to actually rub it up.
Oh, this smells so good. There's so much.
There is, you know what, the other flavor or the other aroma that you're picking up is a little bit of clove.
Ah, yes, that's what it
Yes.
was. Because I was thinking like cookies, cakes, something warm like that, and that's probably what I'm picking up. Oh, I love clove.
Well, we're getting closer to fall, so I thought start thinking about those fall flavors. Do be looking out for our fall video series.
Pumpkin spice ribs?
Pumpkin spice ribs. Boy, I don't know about that one. Might have to try it.
I
never know.
Like, seriously.
Like I'm pretty open-minded about, hey, you know what? Let's just give it a shot.
Food alchemy. We will do it. We'll make it delicious.
You know what? Yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll taste it, and we'll tell you.
If it's good, you'll have a video. If it's not, you'll never see it.
Or you can see it just as a fail video.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right. We'll have a nice compilation.
What not to do with your ribs that you spent.
What didn't actually work. All right, so we're going to go put these on the smoker. Typically, I'm going to smoke them for about a total of about 4 hours, but we're going to do it in a couple of different parts, okay? We're going to smoke them for about 2 hours, and then they're going to get wrapped, and then they're going to smoke or cook. Technically, they'll be wrapped, so they won't be getting any more smoke. But they'll be cooked for another hour after that, and then once that's completed, they'll be unwrapped, sauced, which we will have an amazing barbecue sauce that we're gonna make from scratch, okay? And that will also be in a video link below with a recipe, right? And yeah, and then they're gonna just cook unwrapped with the barbecue sauce on for probably another hour. And so about 4 hours, we're gonna be eating some delicious ribs.
Yes.
All right?
I'm excited.
All right, let's go slap these on the smoker.
All right.
All right, so this is the smoker we're using today. It is a Pit Boss. It's a fantastic smoker. Works really good. It is pellet fueled, which is really kind of convenient. In a lot of ways, it's just kind of like a set it and forget it kind of a thing. Makes it really, really easy process. All right, now we are sitting on smoke.
What's the temperature set at?
Temperature, it's actually set to smoke. We're at about 205 right now. And so we're gonna put these on. Silver skin side down. Kind of want to make sure that you have a little bit of air space around them so that they can get good and smoky, right? All right.
We'll come back in 2
So-
hours.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys in a couple hours to check these out and see where we're at.
All right, we're at
All
the
right.
1 hour mark, right?
So we are at the 1 hour mark. We are back in front of the smoke here, and we have been at about 180 degrees now. It's just a good solid smoke. We've been doing that for, like we said, about an hour. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick peek and take a look and see what we've got going on in here. Oh yeah. So those are, you can see how the fat is starting to change color, starting to turn a little bit of yellow.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that is pretty much, it's gathering smoke. It's gathering flavor. Now, this is going to render down some more. We're going to kick up the heat just a little bit. We're going to go up to about 245, and it's going to sit for another hour, maybe hour and a half. We'll check it, see where it's at.
What are you going to kick the temperature up to?
About 245.
Okay.
We got 250 on the dial. We'll go with that. All right, so we'll see you back in about an hour.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got some tin foil that we're gonna make a tent to put our ribs in, and we're gonna introduce a little bit of apple cider vinegar just to give it a little bit of a steam bath for a little while. That's gonna really help kind of give it a lot of moisture and help them have that nice, texture that we're looking for with ribs, right? This is what we're hoping for, is that when we take a bite, it comes off the bone really, really easy. But at the same time, we also want all of this in there, right? We don't want it just to fall off the bone. So that's the
Do
goal.
you not want it to just fall off the bone?
I like to have a little bit, just me. We're back in front of the smoker here. Gonna lift that up. These are looking really, really nice.
Oh, it smells good.
All right, smells
Oh,
delicious.
so good.
You can see that getting some nice color on these. And we can kind of gauge, like where they're getting well in their thinness by just how much they're kind of bending on us like that. So we're getting there. I'm just gonna kind of stack these up one on top of another. You could wrap these up individually, but I like to save. A little hot. Make sure you grab the handle. And
So you need to temp these, or we're going in for that?
we'll go inside just for a second. Here, I'll get the door.
Okay, how about that?
Looks like you got some meat there.
Ribs coming through.
All right. So we're just gonna build ourselves a little tent here. Kind of create a little scene. Fold it over. I do apologize for all the noise.
So why are we folding it several times like that?
So I'm just trying to get a nice seal on there so that we can keep all of the moisture inside the foil, right? And so that's basically it of that. does not need to look pretty, guys. Does not really matter.
You just want that steel.
I just want that to seal. That's the most important thing. I've got just a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It's going to give us just a little bit of acidity and a little bit of that moisture to steam. We do not need a lot. And one of the things about baby back ribs, like we talked about earlier, is that there is a pretty good amount of fat on these. So that's going to create a lot of moisture too. All right, so I'm just going to...
Looks like about 2 tablespoons.
It was about a tablespoon and a half, 2 tablespoons, yeah. Yep, you don't need much more. All right, so now I'm just going to close that up. And we're going to put it back out onto our smoker. You could also just pop this right in the oven. You probably want to have a preheated oven about 250 degrees. And at this point, like, it's not going to get any more smoke, so putting it in the oven is not a bad option. Especially to save yourself some fuel for your smoker.
Looks like it's a little over 250. Is that kind of where you want it?
Yep, that's where we're going to keep it. Alright, we're just going to place this back. Just about right there ought to do it. Close that lid back up. So we are pulling our ribs off of the smoker right now. See, they did come apart a little bit right there. A little bit of juice is coming out, which is to be expected. We'll close that up. Be careful when you do this. It is going to be steamy and hot. This is good. So let's see if we can get a little shot. This is one of the things that we're looking for, right? See how the meat is kind of pulled back off of the bone right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that tells us that we're in a really, really good spot, right? This is how we know that these are pretty much done. So from here on out, we're gonna put some sauce on them. They're gonna go back out on a higher heat, and we're gonna caramelize some sauce and give it a beautiful color and flavors, and it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, look at that. That is the beautiful barbecue sauce that we made. Video linked below.
Link below. You can check out that video and learn how to make the yummiest barbecue sauce that I can't wait to try.
He's gonna have some cake. I'm excited
Be
too.
careful, it did just come off the stove, so.
Okay, so this came off the stove. You can see it's still steaming hot.
Yeah.
This is the sauce we made, and we also added habanero sauce
Right.
to it, so it's gonna have a heat. So it's hot and it's hot.
Now, you could obviously, put this in the refrigerator, let it cool down, use it later. It's totally fine, either way.
So the first thing that came is like the sweetness is from the Lakanto you added. The sweetness, definitely smoky. You get the smoky. I can taste the ketchup in there too, like the tanginess of that.
Right.
It's not as hot as I would think it is either though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can always add more.
But it's very tasty. I know we said we weren't going to drink this, but So we're just putting the barbecue sauce on to basically caramelize on the ribs.
Yep, we're gonna caramelize it, gonna give it a little bit of firmness to the outside from the caramelization process.
And you're just doing it on the top, you're not doing it on the
Yeah,
other
there's
side.
no real reason to hit the other side of it. Like we talked about with the silver skin on there, it's not gonna put any extra flavor into the meat. It's pretty much just a barrier.
Okay, now the habanero is starting to build a little bit.
Yep, it will a little bit. And, this is also, like, there's so many layered flavors on here, right? Because you remember we started off with a little bit of the mustard smear. Then we did a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we did our spice rub, right? Which also has, some smoked chili peppers in that as well. So, yeah, we're by the time these are done, they're going to have a little bit of flavor, a little bit of heat on them. It will be really, really good.
Complex and delicious.
Complex and delicious.
Ginger is spying.
Ginger wants a rib.
Ginger wants a rib. You
Can't
can't
say
have
I
it.
blame her.
Ginger, you can have it.
Not for dogs. Seriously, don't give your dogs pork bones. All right. Well, these are looking pretty fantastic. We're gonna go.
Put them back on
Put them back on the grill.
All right. Oh, smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the great things about this Pit Boss, right, is that it can get nice and hot.
No, yeah, you turned up the heat, right?
Yeah, I did. And a lot of times with some of these pellet smokers, you know, you tend not to be able to get really good high heat on them. This one actually performs really, really well. I mean, you can cook steaks out on here. You can sear steaks good. We've done it in the past. I mean, it's just a beautiful piece of equipment. Really, really impressed. And I have to say that, and I'm actually a little bit jealous of it because this one's not mine. So Jay, yeah, thanks for letting us use it. I absolutely love this thing.
We've been happy with it.
Yeah, it does the job.
All right, so right now we're sitting about 300, mainly just because we just opened it, so all the heat came out. So we're gonna let this come back up to temperature, let it sit for probably 15 minutes. We'll check it, make sure hopefully nothing's burnt, and hopefully we'll be eating some ribs here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Woo woo.
All right, so these are looking absolutely beautiful. As you can see, we got a lot more color on here. We're gonna go ahead and get these off of the grill. We're gonna cut them up, we're gonna eat them, we're gonna think that they're the best thing in the world, right? You could, you know, if you're a really saucy kind of person, you could throw some more barbecue sauce on here too.
Wipe up this stuff.
I'll wait till you're done.
I was anticipating my sloppiness.
Just excited.
I am.
Yeah, that glaze looks good with the light. So we're cutting into the ribs.
So here we are, we're gonna cut into these ribs. If I can, there we go. That one might be two. That'll be Jay's.
I hear the crunchiness.
That's the
That
caramelization.
silver skin at the bottom is kind of
Yep.
crunchy.
There we go.
Crispy and just heat it.
Yep, absolutely. I'm either way you can.
Alright, so,
All right, so here we go. Smoked barbecue ribs right off the smoker. And yeah, let's give them a shot. Huh?
here we go. The meat is super juicy. Super juicy. It's not dry at all. Lots of flavor.
Now, and you can see too, like, one of the things about ribs to me, like a really good rib, is when you can bite it like this, and you literally bite. You can literally bite the piece off, but the rest of it stays on the bone.
I like that better than if
little
the
bit of
meat
sweetness.
just slides right off.
Yeah.
I like it better that it's there, but you're not losing any of the meat. It will all come off the bone. You're not going to struggle with that. Good smoking job, Brian.
Thank you.
Good job. Delicious. And that sauce.
It's right on, right?
Yeah, it's just the perfect
Sweet,
mix
tangy,
of
smoky,
yeah, that's salt and sweet and
and porky goodness. Delicious. All right.
all right.
Thanks a lot, everybody. We will see you for the next video. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button. We're going to make more awesome videos just like this one.
Bye.